What students found easy and hard whilst researching, I've summarised it here. Overall, the responses mirrored each other. What one felt was easy, another felt was hard. Looking at the easiest, what they found easiest to do whilst researching, initially a majority of students said using a particular search engine was easy. For example, they used Google, Bing or Wikipedia. By the end of the project, more students found researching and finding information easier than at the beginning. They also began to find trustworthy websites easier, and searching also became easier. By the end, no students even mentioned writing or reading, as you can see here, and few mentioned as the easiest, as their focus now seemed to be elsewhere in the research process. What the students found hardest. Initially, a majority of the students found finding appropriate websites and information difficult, but by the end of the research in general was difficult, as they realised how much information was out there and that there are many different ways to interpret what people say. Finding the answers, you can see here, was initially hard for a lot of the students, but by the end this was no longer a priority and the research itself became more important, but still hard. Overall, the majority of the students struggled with putting the information into their own words, but a lot of them used, because they were so used to the old cut and paste scenario, which I did not allow throughout the project. I then compared the easy and hard responses to research with the ACARA Year 6 critical and creative thinking capabilities. Overall, I noticed there quite a lot of the capabilities were not even covered throughout the ILA. This has now made me more aware of what capabilities I need to look more closely at next time. And looking at this data, I discovered what my ILA is really lacking, and that was questioning frameworks and the use of charts or pictorial models to help students gather data. Here I was gathering data and I forgot to tell the students about gathering their own data, which I will improve on next time. Looking at what the students found easy in their research, by the end of the ILA, most of the students were better at analysing a variety of information sources after having identified and categorised the information from these sources throughout the ILA. Looking at what the students found hard, initially there was a high percentage of students who lacked an understanding of the topic and information that they found, compared to a much lower percentage by the end of the ILA. They continued to find putting information into their own words difficult, and some even started to find questioning difficult. Next, I compared the easy and hard responses to research with the ACARA Year 6 Information and Communication Technology capabilities, the ICTs. Again, not all capabilities were covered in the ILA, and I will take this into consideration next time. As you can see, a majority of the students' responses fell within the planning, locating, retrieving and organising information capability. Here, what students found easy, they began to assess and analyse the websites they have found by the middle of the ILA, as you can see here, and some students found that more easy. Some students experienced computer problems throughout the process, but no real complaints were made as to the restrictions on accessibility to websites. Similar to what students found easy, they also experienced finding information and organising information difficult. What the SLIM toolkit suggests is to look at the responses to question 1, which was what you know about your topic, and code the statements made into facts, explanations and conclusions. The more explanations and conclusion statements the students made shows the development of intellectual qualities such as deeper knowledge and deeper understanding. Overall, the majority of the students developed a lot of factual knowledge, more so in the middle of the ILA than at the end. This would not be expected, but well, I didn't think so. I've come to the conclusion that these results occurred because between the middle of the ILA and the end of the ILA, the students had a 2-week holiday period. They came back less interested and the motivation had unfortunately declined. although there's slight improvement in the number of explanation statements by the end. I also found that what some students considered knowledge about the topic was really just rewording the original scenario or question. Finally, by the end of the ILA, very few students believed they learnt nothing about the topic. A positive response overall, considering this data was gathered from 2 class groups of a total of 50 students. Factual statements, as you can see here, were highest in the middle of the ILA. Explanation statements increased over the ILA throughout the 3 surveys. Conclusion statements were also highest in the middle stages, up to none at the beginning. Students restated the questions, the original scenario, but this was actually decreasing by the end of the ILA. Fewer students admitted to knowing nothing about the topic as time went on. Questionnaire 3, which was distributed at the end of the ILA, was the only survey to gather data about what the students learned during the ILA. As we just saw in the last 2 slides, the majority of students took away factual knowledge from the ILA. Some students expressed their thoughts and feelings, like in Kuhlthau's ISP, about the research process, and others learnt valuable skills in evaluating information, internet searching, and work ethics. Overall, the students felt confident about their research at the end of the ILA. Some were still a bit confused and would have liked some more time to gather and analyse more information. When I tackle my next inquiry learning project, I hope to implement some more targeted intervention strategies, catering for those needs of the children throughout the ILA process. I found I did a little bit too much direct teaching and didn't focus enough on that intervention right at that zone of the intervention by Kuhlthau. I also want to show students more samples of inquiry models and questioning frameworks that they can choose from. From the beginning of the inquiry, I want to discuss with the students that they must find evidence to support their arguments. And it's not just a fact-finding exercise, but involves deeper reflection. I want to hand out an ACARA general capabilities pro forma, like rubrics type thing, in a student-friendly language at the beginning of the inquiry for students to constantly refer to throughout the inquiry. Based on an example I looked at from another student's responses, next time round, I'd actually like to use more online spaces for group discussions. So things as Ask Me questions, polls, reflection, and an online journal. I want to focus more on time management skills, because this is what some of the kids said in the interview that I did with a few of them at the end of the ILA. I also want to use De Bono 6 thinking hats throughout the inquiry, and use different types of thinking maps throughout the inquiry, such as bubble maps, circle maps, multi-flow maps, etc. And what I'm trying to do at this point in time is move the inquiry from the generic window to the situated or even the transformative window of the guest model, which I'm currently trying to do with the Year 7s. This was just a few examples from the student interviews that I had after the completion of the ILA. I interviewed a group of students, one at a time, to share their feelings about the project and to assist me in offering some feedback. This reflection assisted both myself and the students in gaining some insight into how we can work together next time to make learning an even more memorable experience for all of those involved. What I found from a lot of the responses was that the boys tended to talk a lot about website analysis, whereas the girls talked more about factual information that they learned. These are just a couple of links to my personal blog on CLN 605, which I've posted many entries on my learning journey through the ISP. Please feel free to ask me for the link, and this Prezi is also going to be available on the blog. and the other link is to the school library blog. Have a look. The link is on the homepage of our school intranet under School Library blog. Hope you've enjoyed the learning inquiry experience, and see you when you do your next project.